Hi, I'm Patrick.
And I'm Liv.
And this is the Mach-E vlog.
And this is the Mazda CX-90 plug-in hybrid, and we're gonna check it out. So let's go. If you don't know, we typically cover all electric things, and this is not all electric because not all of you guys are ready to go all electric. We obviously love electric vehicles, but a lot of people aren't ready to make the switch fully to an electric vehicle and might need to turn to a hybrid first. So we figured, let's try it out.
We'll try it out. And we made this big decision, and part of it is we've seen a lot of people review hybrids, but they're coming from the gas side, and a lot of EV people are like, we're only reviewing EVs and EV only. So we thought we would at least just test it out because you don't know until you try it. So we wanted to sort of give it a try, see what it's like living with this for a week. And as Liv was saying, not everybody has the exact right situation that will allow them to have a full EV. So we're not going to get all into that right now. What we are going to get into is this Mazda CX-90.
Yes.
Plug-in hybrid.
Plug-in hybrid. So by the way, if you are interested in plug-in hybrids or hybrids in general, do let us know because we are open to covering that more. So this exact Mazda CX-90 is the Premium Plus trim, and that starts at $57,450. And what that gets you in addition to the base package is Napa leather trimmed seats, the larger 12.3-inch center display, and ventilated front seats, which we used actually quite a bit.
Yeah, you'll see in our driving segment that we actually filmed yesterday. I love the ventilated seats.
Yeah, and this on its own has an electric motor that gets 26 miles of range, and altogether I think it's 490 miles of combined range.
Somewhere up there. I know when we first got it, it was fairly fully charged as well as pretty full gas tank, and we were at like 430 miles of combined range, and it's been interesting watching that number fluctuate. But it also combined totaled with the electric motor and the gas motor has about 323 horsepower, or about 369 pound-feet of torque. It's actually relatively quick for such a large three-row vehicle. 0 to 60 in around 6 seconds, depending on who's been doing it or whatever. If you're in all-electric mode, it's actually pretty slow. That motor isn't quite as strong as what we've seen in a lot of just full EVs. And the way it works, and we got into this in the driving segment, so I won't do a lot about this, but you have the motor, then you have the electric motor assist, basically, and then it has a transmission, an 8-speed transmission, and you can run it in sport mode, which is using both, but it's like ready to go, quick shifts. Normal mode, there's an off-road mode, and there's an EV-only mode, but it will still kick on the gas motor if you are really trying to accelerate because that EV motor is so limited. But let's talk about the styling before we get into some of this other stuff.
First things first, you started right at the very noticeable thing, which is of course the fact that there is actually a functional grille. Weird thing for us, like we're so used to just aesthetic grills, but we have that right here, and it's trimmed by this chrome metal, which is really cool, but there's a real absence of piano black on the Mazda, which is really, really nice. Don't know about you guys, but there's piano black on the grille, there's piano black on the wheels, but the rest of this is gorgeous chrome. It's matte black, and then this is a rhodium white, which this actually has some PPF on it, and we were debating if it comes like that from the dealership or...
It might come from the factory, but I think it comes from the dealer, and I'll see if I can show it to you. There's a little bit of a little bit here. Even, by the way, I just noticed this, like underneath the door handles. So I'm not sure if that's like part of the package or not.
Yeah, just something to note. But this actually has some arrows, some ventilation right here that actually goes all the way through. So that's kind of cool, but this is a chunky vehicle. Of course, I'm used to kind of little bouncy vehicles, so this is probably the chunkiest thing I've been in. But if you come on the side profile here, you can see how really chunky this thing is, really beefy it is. It has the plug-in hybrid badging on both sides. It has the Mazda logo and that gorgeous chrome on the bottom, which looks really, really good. And these 21-inch wheels that are the only other spot where there's piano black and that chrome as well. Now, your gas tank is on this side and your EV charging is on that side. And why don't we go around the back and open it up?
Our first look inside. By the way, since Liv mentioned the charge port, let me show you one interesting thing about this. So it looks like there's a J1772 and a DC fast charger, extra pins. If you know EVs, you know that like this is like your home charging, and then when you're out and about, you can fast charge it. That's actually fake. There is no fast charging on this vehicle. And then I don't think I mentioned, but it actually has a 14.8 kilowatt hour battery for the plug-in hybrid portion. But
which is like not that far off the Leaf, really. So this thing like ate the Leaf. It was an ICE vehicle that ate the Leaf. So this is a 3-row, but you get quite a good chunk of trunk space. A lot of times, I hope you can see this because it's so bright out here.
We'll try to get in some.
Hopefully you can. A lot of times we use my hula hoop to test. This would definitely fail the hula hoop test. But there are 3 rows of seats, and you
Come
have
on this
these
side,
cool...
and then I can
Okay.
get the sun angle better, I think.
Is that better?
Yeah, I think this is better. It's hard to tell.
We have these cool pulleys that allow you to drop the seats. And Patrick noted this, like once the seats are down, which we won't do too much right now, it makes it really easy to grab and pull back. So this is a big, long handle, ergonomic, and easy to use. But then you get a ton of space. I think it's over 70 cubic feet when it's down and like 40 when it's up.
Should we go ahead? Let's just go ahead and drop them.
Let's do it.
We're going to drop them all and see. And then, oops, I'm trying to do it with one hand. Can you push that one for me?
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
Nice.
So
that passes the hula hoop test for sure.
Pretty decent room, and you still have your first 2 rows where they're up, so that's really cool. Let's go around and we can...
And I just want to show, like, that really is accessible.
It is
easy
very cool.
to access, yeah. With like one finger, that's a good test for me.
And one-handed, I can pull that up.
Nice.
And we just have to lock the headrest back up, and we're good to go.
Mine's floppy. Stay. Good.
All right. We're going to hop in. I always have to note, I'm relatively short at 5'6", Liv is 5'5", so we're not the tallest people to test all this stuff out, but we're going to go ahead and do that. By the way, we have some chrome here, and then it says CX90. I think it's actually fantastic because it lights up at night and looks really sharp. But let me go ahead. Again, I'm behind a relatively short me, so there's a ton of leg room. Liv always has her seat pretty far back, so I'm going to scoot back over here, and still a decent amount of leg room, but I'm pretty short. If I were like 6 foot tall, I think that would be a little bit cramped there.
I think it would be like 2 6 foot tall people though, because I think I have mine as far back.
Yeah, and then I think this can scooch back.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's all the way back.
Okay.
If you need more leg room in the backs, you can scooch this one up. So let's say we have somebody here, not necessarily no leg room, but just a little bit with a tall person in the back. And then that way we can sort of see in the back when I move back.
Great idea.
Yeah.
And you can tilt the back.
Yeah, I can lean back a bit. Whoa. Oh, that's pretty comfy. I could deal with that. Somebody needs to chauffeur me around.
All right.
And it feels fairly comfortable back here. We do have the sunscreens in the back, which is pretty nice. I really need it on that side where the sun is at. We actually, of course, have some vents back here, 2 USB-C ports, and we also can control the fan and temperature, as well as, there is ventilated rear seats, or heated rear seats, I think. Yeah, I believe it's heated rear seats as well. So nice to have those controls right here, accessible, and with buttons, not a full touch screen. But overall, yeah, I like the seat. It's fairly comfortable. We got this little armrest. We have flip-up cup holders over here. And with the CX90, you can configure this as a 8-seater as it is now, a 7-seater or even a 6-seater if you want. But we're going to go try the back now. Are you ready? You're going to follow me in?
Yeah.
And I can't put the seat down, but I'm just going to try to hop back here. And we'll see how this works.
And I'm going to hop into the car.
So this is not bad legroom wise, but because of the way the floor is like my foot's up, I mean, my knees are up really high. And because of the way the seat is, it's hard to like get my foot in a comfortable position here. So this would not be that comfortable, a bit cramped back here. And then if I scooted over here on this side, this is really tight. I can't even get my foot behind this seat and down and under. So this wouldn't even really work if that seat were that far back. There are a couple of vents back here and 2 cup holders on each side. So you may be cramped, but at least you have some cup holders. And there's a USB-C on each side. And then I'm not sure what this is. It looks like a little hook. Cargo hook or whatever, but there is actually, as I mentioned, this one is a 7-seater. So this is where I'd actually have the nice leg room, like when you get the bulkhead or the right behind the exit row on an airplane. But I feel like I'm teetering because this middle seat is so narrow. It'd be like sitting on the armrest up front. Like I feel like I'm teetering back and forth. So this wouldn't be comfortable either. So I think it's safe to say reserve the 3rd row to people you don't like or people that are under a certain age.
That's a good distinction. And it's really it's really interesting because the cabin is really beautiful and open, and we have this glass roof that this is a powered cover. And it's a powered open. So the front 2 rows feel really open and expansive and airy and lovely. But then I'm looking at you back there and you look quite...
It feels pretty, and then I just noticed because I was moving around and I didn't hit my head, but it dips down right here. So
it's like, definitely for kids.
It brushed my hair. So again, 5'6" person, it's manageable. I don't think anybody like 5'11", 6 feet tall would want to ever be back here unless it was just a ride to go get ice cream or something, and then they'd be happy. Anyway, so
I love how you think.
Yeah.
I'm going to try hand you the camera to see if you can capture some of the leg room.
Yeah, sure thing. So, yeah, this is actually really good. It's hard to point this camera down, but can you see down there, there's like that, there's room there, but if I put there's like something down here, like the rail, so I can't really get my foot over there. So if I try to get 2 feet here, I can sort of do it. And then on this side, like there's just no way to get my foot over there. So yeah, we won't, most people won't spend a ton of time.
And this was the seat that my dad was in. So this is set for a 5'7" person, 5'8" or so.
But he likes lots of leg room.
He does like leg room. So that's what this seat is set for. It's not set for 6'3" person.
It's a great view from back here, though. That's pretty nice looking.
It is pretty nice.
Feels like I'm in a car commercial or something.
It's also very toasty, so let's get out of here.
Yeah, let's move up to the front and turn on the AC. So I got in the hard way, but I'm going to try to get out an easier way. So Liv has pushed that seat forward, leaned it forward, and it doesn't do much other than that, but this is how I can sort of get out as well. I don't know, what is easier, what is harder to get in and out of that back row, and then to put it back, and then now it's a little bit close up there, but anyways.
For kiddos, no problem.
Yeah, for kids, you just have them hop in and out. Of course, the downside is like if you do have, like if you want to have like car seats up here and somebody needs to get in the back, that might be a little bit of a challenge. So I'm not sure. I guess you could put the seat all the way back, put the car seat here, and then the other kids have to climb through the back. I don't know.
If you are a parent with multiple car seats, how do you juggle them? We're in the front. We are obviously ready to drive. We drive and talk a lot. This is something that we did yesterday, but we will give you a little bit of a summary of the interior. Some of the highlights are, of course, that Napa leather that we spoke of, the ventilated seats, which we are going to use today because it's quite warm. I don't even know what temperature it is, but it feels...
on now that you mentioned
Yeah, I know, right? I'm like, oh, you turned on the seat warmers by mistake.
Oh,
I shouldn't have told them.
No.
The cool muted, like matte aluminum trim, the interestingly textured matte. Now I'm jealous. There's a lot that's really gorgeous in here that feels really premium. But let's go for a drive.
Now we're on an expressway. So on this road, we could actually get up to 55 miles an hour. That's what the speed limit is. But there are a lot of stoplights. So this is where I think, we should be getting some pretty good efficiency and making use of the combination of the EV and regular gas powertrain on this. So there's a little indicator on the screen over here. I know you can't really see it, but it says EV. So we're like in EV mode. I have it in normal mode. If I want to, I can actually shift to either like sport, EV, or off-road. So I'm going to shift to just EV mode. And in EV mode, on a road like this, it'll stay in EV only unless I really floor it. And then it will actually kick in the gas engine because I'm like basically asking for the extra power. But it just means I have to gradually accelerate. I can't like zip around or whatever, but it's really trying to focus on using the EV battery. And I would use that a lot if I were, just commuting around and I wanted to try to get the most out of the EV portion. But we're getting ready. Our next destination is 42 miles away. We have
42 minutes.
42 minutes,
miles.
36 miles. Thank you. And I think we have about 17 miles of range. So we're not going to be able to get there. So I'm going to shift back into normal mode, not off-road. We'll go back to normal road. And there's basically just a little My Drive switch that I'm able to select. And it's very easy to go back and forth between the two. So now in this mode, it still will, like in a case like this, it's let me stay in EV mode. But it'll shift back and forth and use the gas motor as needed. And I'm assuming that when we get up to speed on I-5, the freeway, that it will switch over and use the gas mode as we get down lower in state of charge. It doesn't really know how far I'm going, so it's still trying to use the EV, but at some point we're gonna run out of battery and it's just gonna have to run off of the gas engine, but it will keep it charged at least a little bit so that it can have full power when needed. So this is sort of all new to us. We're learning like how a plug-in hybrid behaves versus a regular hybrid versus an EV. Very interesting.
And I wonder how, like people who are plug-in hybrid users, I wonder if you are, let us know. I feel like I would just want to try being EV all the time. I'd be like, let's just like make the full use out of the EV. Like it'd be zipping around to very close locations nearby and just try and only use EV, use gas as little as possible. But maybe a lot of people use it to sort of just boost their efficiency all over, as opposed to like just sticking in EV.
Well, our neighbor has a plug-in hybrid, and she has a very short commute to work, and she tries to keep it in EV only mode and gets frustrated when it actually decides to switch on the gas motor, which actually it has to do periodically in any case just to maintain the health of the engine. But that would be my goal if possible. It is way more sluggish just using the EV motor to accelerate. I believe it's only like 175 horsepower or something like that in EV only mode, which is not much for a big vehicle like this. So I think Redline Reviews did a test between just full acceleration with the gas engine plus the electric motor, and they got low 6 seconds acceleration, but then EV only mode was around 13 seconds or something like that. It was
wow.
Yeah, it's really slow, but that's sort of like making sure you don't kick into the gas engine. But a lot of times, like this, I'm getting on the freeway, I can't, and there's a traffic jam up ahead, so I can't actually. That was a weird shift.
Yeah.
I'll get back to that. But I can't really accelerate full speed here anyway. So it's staying in EV mode as I'm getting on the freeway. I was hoping to just floor it and show you what happens. But it is interesting how the electric motor is integrated. So it's in between the gas engine and the transmission. So even in EV mode, it'll shift, which if you know EVs, most EVs, like 99% of EVs, they don't have a transmission. It's just it's just one drive of one gear ratio. And somebody doesn't want to let me in, but I'm going to have to just force myself in. So it's weird to me being in EV mode and it's shifting. And I got confused the first couple of times. I was like, why is it shifting? I didn't want to be with the gas motor. And then now that I learned about it, it's like that. It's in between. So it's an 8-speed transmission. Overall, there's a lyric. Overall feels fairly smooth. We've tried some other plug-in hybrids, and this one isn't. It's actually not a bad seamless transition. There's times when the motor will kick on, and I don't even actually really notice.
Yeah, it is less noticeable than the last one we were in. Now that you mention it, we do get that occasional shuddering.
Yeah, to me, and part of it is just, we are EV only drivers now, but having a transmission sometimes, just any automatic transmission, it's sort of a little bit of that, like I was slowing down, but then I want to put my foot on the gas and it has to pick which gear to be in. So as I'm now trying to accelerate and get up to speed, now that traffic is ending, it kicked out of EV mode. Now it's back in EV mode. So it is switching back and forth. But again, it's a fairly smooth transition most of the time. I think most of the, any jerkiness or anything like that is only when it's trying to find what transmission gear to get in, not necessarily the motor kicking on and off. Hopefully we'll speed up again. It looks like traffic's almost through, and then we'll be able to cruise. And we'll also want to check out the driver's assistance features and see how that is.
Now, you got a text while we were filming, and you tried to dismiss the text.
Yeah.
Were you able to turn on touch when you're moving?
No, so I looked this up. I thought I saw in somebody else's video, you can use the touch screen in Android Auto or Apple CarPlay while it's at a stop. But once you go in motion, you have to use the knob that's down on the center console. And to access anything in the Mazda menus, you have to use the knob. So I thought I saw somebody using CarPlay. So maybe CarPlay you can while you're in motion, but Android Auto you can't. But to navigate, I have to circle around and rotate the knob, and it's a bit frustrating because I told it to navigate we're going to a flooring store or a tile store, and I just wanted to click on the one I wanted, but I have to scroll to get to the right one. And I sort of get they don't want you to have to reach and do things while you're in motion, but at the same time it's sort of I gotta focus and look at the screen to see where's my cursor at, because it'll highlight different segments of right now the directions are highlighted, and then the X and the different route things. So it's if I'm trying to select something, it's a bit difficult to focus on the road while I'm doing that. So I probably shouldn't be doing that. And
I realize I should probably show what that looks like if you want to rotate the dial so we can show what that looks like. Do it again.
So yeah, there we go. Just rotating around, and it's I have to glance over to see where I'm at versus glancing and I want to hit right there. It's I know I can do that. Probably, I get the intention is make sure you're focused on the road, not having distractions, not leaning over. But in the reality is if you're trying to find the song or the destination, you're going to be doing that. So I have not tried the driver's assistance features. We're going to go ahead and try this. So I just turned everything on. Nope, did not. Now it's set. And we're going to see how it goes. By the way, I'm in EV mode right now, and my range has dropped down to 9 miles. So it's going to slowly go down, using a lot of EV power. Just the motor just kicked on, and it's just a regular cruise control. I didn't turn on the in-lane centering, which I'm wondering, does this one not have it? So it has my following distance. It doesn't have the lane centering on this one. I should have. They normally provide us with like a window sticker so we can look at all the features that it has, but I just noticed it does not have that. So I'll have to double check that, but we'll move on. And just really just talk about like how is it like cruising on the road with this ride quality. I was a bit surprised when we first drove this a little bit. The ride is a bit firmer and sportier than I was expecting. How about you?
I agree. Yeah, like you can definitely feel some of the road, and I have to preface, I'm not used to vehicles this size, so I anticipated it feeling more boaty, but it doesn't actually. Like it's quite planted, which was a surprise to me. Like I thought it would feel boaty.
Yeah, it's an interesting mix, if you ask me, because Mazda sort of has that zoom, 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 sporty heritage. But this is like this is sort of getting to like a premium 3-row SUV, which is not generally like, what you would consider a sporty vehicle. And it seems like it's like straddling the line. Like it's a nice ride, but it's also a bit firm and sporty. So it's an interesting mix. If you want to have a little bit of that, and it sort of goes back to having the plug-in hybrid, which means having some extra acceleration boosted by the EV motor. 0 to 60 in low 6 seconds for a vehicle this size is not horrible. It's not that bad. So but it's not, blazingly quick either. Our Mustang Mach-E that we drive on a day-to-day basis, smaller than this, but it's all EV and does 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. So 6.1 might seem slow, but that's actually pretty darn quick for a vehicle this size. And if you're comparing it to like gas versions, so it's like straddling the line. Otherwise, overall this feels like a pretty good ride. Now that we're on the freeway, I can say it feels pretty quiet, even though like right now we have the gas motor running.
Yeah, that's true. It does feel pretty quiet, and also the cabin is pretty well sealed. And I think like everything you're describing, it feels like this is trying to be pretty good in a lot of areas, right? Like if you are looking to haul your whole family and have a good amount of trunk space and have a really efficient vehicle and have a premium, maybe luxury vehicle with good performance, I think this is trying to be that, which is really cool. Like you don't need to be able to haul your whole family and have something that's like a 12-second 0 to 60. Like you get a lot of all worlds with this, which is quite cool. And I think it does do that well. Like everything that it's trying to do, it's pretty good at it. Like obviously can hold a lot of people. There's a ton of space in the 3-row. It does feel premium. The ride feels really nice. Like it's soft, very, very soft touch, like a leather or fake leather dash. Some of these are just soft plasticky, rubbery type things, but everything is a soft, nice touch. Just overall, like the stitching and everything makes it feel very nice. I keep hitting, I need the lane centering. You're used to having lane centering, yeah.
And even like I just adjusted my vent. This one feels a little cheap and plasticky, but this one on the side feels a bit premium. And that's sort of, again, it's like it's going toward more premium side of things. We've been in things like the Mercedes EQS, which is very premium, and it's not that level, but it's it's not like your typical lower end Mazda that I would think, and not lower end Mazda, but like the Mazdas that I've been in the past didn't feel premium. They always felt sporty. So it's like it's a sporty premium.
Yeah, it is a sporty premium. It's a sporty premium family hauler, which is kind of cool.
And it does feel big, but we're used to a smaller 5-passenger vehicle, but it doesn't feel huge. We were, like maneuvering in a parking lot, getting into a parking space. It's the steering is light enough that it's easy to get in and out of a parking space without like feeling like you're digging into the pavement. And just overall, like the steering is, we got a bit of a wobble there. You can, even though it has a lower center of gravity because there is a battery, just around 18 kilowatt hour battery. So it has some weight down there, but it's not as much as like a traditional EV with a huge battery. But it's pretty neat. But yeah, it's for a vehicle this size, it's fairly maneuverable. I'm going to move over, lets people get around me. Was able to easily get in and out, and the cameras that are giving my 360 view, very, very helpful. The backup cameras, and very, very clear. And I also I could switch between just a regular rear view mirror and the digital rear view mirror. I'm not generally a fan of the digital rear view mirror, but with the the headrest on the 3-row SUV, all behind me, it blocks quite a bit of the rear window. But having a digital rear view mirror is really a really nice option. There were a couple of times when the glare made it very difficult to actually see the camera view, but like right now it's like perfect, and I can see, like this car that just flew past us.
That does sound weird. But if you wanted to switch it to non-digital, it would not be in the right angle. Because you've moved it to reduce glare.
It's weird. So it's like I got to go really sort of high up, or change it to that way. But then if I switch it to digital, now it's like facing a weird angle, which feels weird, and it gives me a lot of glare from the sunroof. So I got to tilt it down so I don't get that glare. But then once I do that, this is pretty well situated. And you should touch this.
Is it warm?
Yeah, it's quite warm. Hard to estimate the temperature, but I'd say it's around 100 degrees.
That is toasty.
Not that you're touching your rear view mirror a lot, but
the electronics in there must be working hard.
Yeah.
Now, we have had people in here. We've had my dad in here. I've watched videos with people's kids getting in and having no issues, but I will say that my dad had a hard time getting in, clambering into the rear seats. Yeah. What are you messing with?
I'm warm, so I'm trying to get cool.
On that note, I love the fact that there are manual vents. The multimedia infotainment is not huge. It's not as huge as the Mach-E, but it's nice to have the extra space for a ton of vents in the front of the cabin and in the rear of the cabin. And there are climate controls on the back of the center console. Speaking of center console, I really like this one. You don't even have to move your arm because it's separate. Hopefully you guys can see this, but we're going to B-roll a lot of this as well. It's separate. So if I want to open my side and get in there, I can. There's a little button. And there's a channel for the cable. There's USB-C, 2 in the front and 2 in the second row. Once again, I have to check the third row. Not used to having a third row. But I love that there's a channel so that when you close this, your cable is perfectly positioned to come out, so you can have your phone handy, and it kind of guides it away from sticking out in the middle and getting in your space. What do you feel about the hidden cup holder?
We have drinks so often. I don't really care for these because we always have drinks in the car.
Always.
But I don't know if we're the exception, not the norm.
You'll have to let us know.
But I think for a lot of people, this is really nice because it keeps a nice, clean looking area.
It looks super clean.
I do want to note, it's like a aluminum metal pattern surface, but there's no like piano black anywhere in here. Like, yay!
It's a lot of brushed metal, and in the places, it's like a muted aluminum, which I'm a huge fan of. Actually, it's not even brushed; it's a satin. Looks really gorgeous. Diminishes fingerprint smudges. The leather, or I think it's real leather, is textured. So once again, fingerprint smudges very diminished. But that texture, this like sort of diamondy, whatever we call it, is where you touch often. So that's really well considered in that it definitely heavily minimizes any fingerprints or any smudges. It's really, really wise. Even on the door, that texture is in places that you encounter. With your arm, I've got sunscreen on already, and like you actually cannot see it on the leather and you cannot see it on the surfaces. So that I think really contributes to that kind of premium quality of this.
Yeah, overall it feels just well put together inside, and I was impressed, and surprisingly impressed. Wasn't expecting that. By the way, it just ran out of battery.
Oh wow.
So now we cannot use the battery until we charge it with a plug, or get some charge, because it does do regen braking, and you can have the amount of regen like basically normal or high. I set it to high because I'm used to regen braking. And if you don't watch us normally, we talk about regen braking because we cover EVs, but regen braking, basically what that means is instead of just using like physical brakes to grab the brake rotors and slow you down, it basically turns on the electric motor like in reverse, basically. Not in reverse, but anyways, it's basically feeding, using the motor to feed power into the battery, and doing that slows the car down. So it feels like you're braking, but it's regenerating energy back into the electric motor. So we'll see if we get any regen charge. We may not get any at all, because like even doing this, like we're going slight downhill, we're doing like 65 miles an hour. It's not like we're going to go down enough really here. It might be only when we exit. So we'll see if we get any additional range at all. But the other thing is, like, we do have other drive modes, and we're getting ready to slow down. Now I'm charging because I'm using the brake. We got traffic all of a sudden. I did not know that we were getting in traffic, and
it brakes well.
Yeah, I was trying not to brake too hard because the guy was riding my rear, but I just had to.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah. And I had the cruise control on. I could have let it like slow me down, but when you see traffic slowing down like that, I think it's a better idea just to go ahead and start slowing it down a little bit. Doesn't look like it's too long. There must be an accident somewhere.
Which is just super common here.
Yeah.
Now, while we're stuck in traffic, I will point out something that we cannot actually demonstrate right now, but we will show you the footage of using it. The roof. It's, I think, a really nice premium feature that we've experienced in multiple vehicles is to have a power-controlled glass roof cover. So this has a full power control. It's really nice, and it's really opaque when it's covered. And you have the openable moonroof. Do we call it a moonroof still?
People go moon. So, I think it depends on the manufacturer.
Do you say moon or sun? Because like you would use it for the sun. Do you look at it? Do you look at the moon?
Call it a soon-roof.
Soon-roof. Soon, well, I don't know. That's time dependent. Anyways, it has power controlled. It can open. We can't do it because there's a GoPro there, but we are showing you it happen. And of course, a glasses holder, which I always like. Your glasses are in there. Don't forget that. Nice gray day.
It's a gray day, so I don't really need them.
Okay. So. And like some glasses holders, oh, my fingers.
Whoops, sorry.
Do you have a little rattle? This has none, and it seals up really tightly.
The one thing I did notice is like we got a little bit of flex here.
Yeah, why don't you show me that, and I will show you guys.
Everything else feels like really solid, and
show me the flex.
But we got some flex here that I thought, and I think it's just because we have the moonroof, sunroof screen that is
Munroof.
Yeah, that goes through here, so we have a little bit of flex. But I did also want to mention, you know, there's the big trend of making everything on the touch screen. Of course, this really isn't like a full true touch screen, but there are a lot of buttons in the car. We actually have some additional stuff because we have, like here, I can set the charge level for the battery while driving. It's set to 100%, which is, you may not want to do that if you are trying to make maximum use of your EV using the battery while driving around town. You don't want to necessarily like try to recharge it back up. So like if you're driving like 5 miles to work and 5 miles back, you don't want to like, oh my gosh, I gotta, while I'm driving, try to get it back up to 100%, because that's not a really efficient way to charge the battery. If that's what you're using it for, you could set it down lower so that it's not using that and you just charge when you get home. If you're on like a road trip, you might want to go ahead and set it to 100% so that you are getting some use of that battery and have that extra performance boost. So that's why they have that, so that you can change it. But going back to the buttons and everything, it's I think it's fairly well laid out. A lot of times, you know, because everybody's trying to reduce the number of buttons in cars, it can be like the lack of buttons is even more frustrating than just having a button for things. So we have all of our climate control here.
I will say the climate control, and this is typical, where it has a down arrow for cold and an up arrow for hot. But I think it's funny because Patrick keeps trying to like go up for hot. But that's kind of common, isn't it? It is common.
Yeah, and overall,
it's funny.
Whether it's the screen here, and let me see. Oh, can I tap? Nope. I have to use this.
I feel sure someone was tapping it and it's a setting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like, how do I get... Yeah, see, this is why it would just be so much easier if I could tap. And I don't know, because what I want to do is get back to the whole screen. I think if I...
Some things, however, you become used to when you have a vehicle. So, of course, having a vehicle for a week, we're not going to become completely accustomed to it. And if we only drove this always for years, you would become super accustomed to the navigation style. There are numerous vehicles with like weird navigation on their infotainment or weird gear shifters. How do you like the gear shifter, by the way?
Gear shifter is odd. Let me get back to Android Auto so we see our map. The gear shifter is odd only for the fact that, you know, been driving for many years, a lot of automatics with this type of stick automatic shifter, and like basically all the way up is park. All the way up on this one is reverse, and I can't show you that right now, but it's like all the way up is reverse, and then over to the left is park.
We can see it right here, yeah.
So I do not like that, but at the same time, we've had this car for about 3 days now, and I've already sort of gotten used to it. So you may not like it, but you will get used to it fairly quickly, I think. And the reason is like, you just, you know, your muscle memory is like, boom, throw it into park. And I sort of get why, like, these are all your like motions going back and forth. That was a weird transmission shift. And then to put it into park, you're actually physically putting it over there. And we haven't done this, but I believe Sofian with Redline Reviews figured out that like, if you get into your driveway, you put it in reverse and you turn the car off, because you forgot that's not park. When you get back in the car, it won't let you start the car until you move the gear shifter back to park. So we didn't have to get that lesson. I guess they ran into that issue. That's
a good safety lesson, though. It's like unfortunate that they had to input that because of the weird thing. Like,
It's, you know, a lot of times there are some little quirks. It's not as, you know, like Teslas, on the newer Teslas, some of them, they have gotten rid of your blinker stalk, for example. And it's buttons on the steering wheel. Like, I think that's a huge shift and change and would take me a very long time to get used to. But like just a minor change with the shifter. Everything else is laid out pretty well. And after I got used to using the knob to navigate the menus, I was getting quicker and quicker. It's not great for Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, because I'm so used to being able to touch real quick. Can I do it now?
Like under 5 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Ah.
So now I can touch, and you can see it's working, but I can still use the knob. So if you get used to that, it's pretty quick and slick. And our multimedia stuff, of course, is over here on the steering wheel. As with a lot of Japanese cars, it's on the left, and my cruise control stuff is on the right. But it's also very accessible down here. And I was just sort of like, how does it feel? And this is also like a joystick. So like to skip to the next song, it's like I just push to the right and volume controls. And it's actually sort of neat because like I think, having the car for just a week, I probably wouldn't be able to get used to that.
Oops.
But if I, had it for a couple of months, I would probably get very used to just reaching down here and going like, okay, I need to be here, I need to be here.
Why would you do it on the steering wheel always?
Well, I would use the steering wheel quite often, but for adjusting the volume, it's like a little joystick moving up and down. I sort of like a knob for volume.
And I like it for me. It's mine. I control the audio.
But because I also,
for the passenger,
like when we're cruising, like I generally have my hand resting down here. So overall, since we're just stuck in traffic, it says now 10 more minutes of traffic.
I think this is a good opportunity to talk about the comfort. What would this be like on a long trip? Obviously, traffic doesn't really make a difference. Like our trip is like an hour right now. But if you were going to ride in this for like 3-4 hours, what would it feel like?
Suspension and seats combined are firm. The seats are firm. We mentioned
very firm.
Suspension is firm.
Yeah.
So I think it might get a bit tiresome. It does have heated and ventilated seats. So I just turn on my ventilated seats. And that feels way better. And that'll help quite a bit. But the firmness, I'm not sure. Like, and I think it's just a little bit of expectation because we have a Mach-E GT Performance Edition. It has firm seats, but I sort of like, it's a GT. It should be firm.
They're not quite as firm as this, are they?
I don't know. Well, we have MagneRide, so I think the suspension.
No, the seats themselves, though.
Yeah.
So the seats, there's quite a lot of side bolstering. So it really is leaning to the like performance-y variant of this like giant people hauler. I know this is like technically mid-size, but to me it's giant. So please take that with a grain of salt. That's the saying, right? That's such a weird saying. Yeah. Anyways, it's got good side bolstering. So if you are whipping it around, I think so.
No, not much. It
has some
sort of like our
bolstering.
first edition, like premium.
Yeah,
it's a little bit.
But the right where your butt contacts the seat is quite firm, and right where the your lower back contacts the seat is quite firm.
And the lumbar support is just in and out. A lot of lumbar support you can adjust, like position up or down.
I don't have lumbar.
No, sorry.
Do I? Rude. Well, tell us, how is it? Is it nice?
It should be a little disc like.
Yeah, no
behind
disc.
It. Yeah. So it's okay lumbar support, but it's like I want it up slightly, so I can't adjust that. But otherwise, I found a very comfortable seating position otherwise, and basically if I were on a long trip, I'd want my arms to be able to rest. Both contact points are very soft. The only little sticking point over here with the center console is it has this stitching. So it's been rubbing against my hand as I like do things, but it's like really minor. Otherwise, it's actually a very comfortable seating position, feeling like I'm in control of my domain, which is the highway, So I like, it's just good visibility out the back, especially with the digital mirror. I still, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of these because the focal link is like, I'm looking way in the back and my mirrors and way out front. And then this is only like a foot distance.
I just think it's cute that we've been surrounded by Rivians. There's a Rivian up there. Oh, it's so hard for me to see, but there you can see the cute little eyeballs.
Yeah.
It's hard with the glare.
And yeah, so the visibility, like when it is working in like in slow traffic like this, is excellent. Because the camera is up high, it's always interesting because it feels like somebody's like
Right up on
right
you.
up underneath me, but it's just the way the camera is positioned. But I think that's pretty good for our driving segment since we're literally just sitting still now. So
let's move to the next.
okay, that was our drive yesterday. Really enjoyed it in multiple situations. Very nice, very comfortable, premium. But we're gonna wrap this video up with our summary and thoughts about this. And just sitting in here now, it's a premium feeling car or SUV. And I think that's one of the bigger surprises coming out of this is like I wasn't expecting that from a Mazda. I haven't been in a Mazda in years, and mostly I was in like the Mazda 3 and the Miata. So it's like I haven't been in their larger vehicles, so maybe it's just something I'm not as familiar with. But I really like the feel in here. We've had, of course, other EVs. It's not like Mercedes level, but comparing it to like the Lexus, this feels premium like the Lexus. Of course, I wanted that tinted roof, which, by the way, you couldn't play with the roof.
I couldn't play with the roof. Can you see this right now? I don't think you can.
Yeah, we'll move this.
Yeah,
and we'll
Patrick
see.
found that you can lean the camera on the dash, which is very nice because normally we hold them. So really, really cool that you have the option to actually open the roof as well.
Very cool.
And like you technically can't really
Hold
fit
on.
out there, but like, you know, scream out to the people as you drive by.
Just
wave.
because we can.
Just because we can. It's a really nice thing to have. There is tinting on the glass roof, so it's pretty good driving with this as is. But it's always nice to have the screen if we wanted to fully close everything and just have a nice sort of normal, dim environment. There we go. So we couldn't do that with GoPros. It's actually kind of nice to have, huh? But it's such a big car that it's really dark back there. I don't know.
Sort of nice for this, though, right?
Yeah. So we had to look at this vehicle knowing that we're not necessarily the demographic. We have no need for something this size. So if you are in need of something this size and you want something that's very efficient, really, and you're more comfortable with
decently efficient,
and you're more comfortable with sticking with an ICE vehicle or something that has ICE features, then this is a great option. The 26-mile battery, I don't know if we really got 26 miles out of it because you pushed it kind of hard at times.
Well, we did mostly freeway driving, but like your typical urban stuff, I know some other reviewers have gotten 25, 26 miles out of it. So that's fantastic. I will say, like at the beginning, we're like, we know if you do, you may not be able to go with the EV because you can't charge at home. And unfortunately, I think this is sort of the same scenario. Even though it's a lot smaller battery, you do need to be able to plug this in to really get the efficiency out of it that you're spending for. We used it all yesterday. I didn't plug it in last night, so I have 0 miles of EV range because we didn't plug it in. The EV will still kick in because you will charge it a little bit here and there as you decelerate. But you really have to be able to plug it in. Now, because the battery is only like 14.8 kilowatt hour, you probably could survive if you're just plugging it in on a 120 volt. So that does give you some more options because I know a lot of people, they have like a garage, but they're renting. And if you have a garage like that and you at least have a 120 volt outlet, you can plug in and you'll be able to charge. It'll take a lot longer than if you had the 240 volt charging. 240 volt charging is about 2 hours for it to completely charge. And with the 120, it'd probably be like a 12 hours or something like that. But if you're not using it every day, you may be able to get by with that. So anyways, are you going to open that up again?
It's so dark now. I like it open. I just like a glass roof.
So anyways, yeah, this just provides you with another option. Plug-in hybrids are a bit controversial with a lot of EV owners, like I said at the beginning, but it can be a decent option for people. A friend of mine, I just recommended she try a plug-in hybrid because it works very well for her day-to-day use. She stays in EV mode a lot, but she has like a weekend cabin that's off grid, and it's pretty far away. So it's like she's, sometimes up there for quite a bit, and there's no charging nearby. So for her, this seemed, it seemed like a plug-in hybrid would be a good solution. I think what we came up with yesterday is like, this vehicle is a lot of compromises, and sometimes it's like you're like, this vehicle is a lot of compromises and they're all in a bad way. This is a bit of compromises, and in some ways in the best way possible. So you don't get full EV, but if you have very short commutes, you can get a lot of EV use out of it. This is a great road tripper as well. So it's like, if you are like, I don't mind doing an EV around town, but I don't want to charge when I go on my road trips, this can work for you. Just a note on related note, we are at about 26.6 miles per gallon for the past few days, which is a lot of freeway driving. So it isn't like a super, fuel efficient car by any means, but it's, it's decent for a big 3-row SUV. So, and the same thing with like the suspension. It isn't a completely sporty suspension, but it also isn't a completely like cushy suspension. It's like in between, a little bit of compromises.
Yeah, and I will say, so I drove it just a little bit, and I was surprised that it feels smaller than it is. Like, I honestly thought that this would feel enormous. It's probably the biggest thing I've driven.
You drove the EQS 580. So.
That's true. That was large. But this definitely didn't feel big. Like, it's quite well balanced, and like Patrick said, there are a lot of compromises, but it does a lot of things quite well. And I was just thinking, like, who is this for? If you have a lot of short journeys in your life where you have a couple people with you and you want them to be very comfortable in the second row, this is great. If you have a lot of short journeys and you have a couple people and you have smaller children as well, or animals, then they'll be fine in the third row.
Yeah.
Like, because there are vents back there, so you could stick your pets in the back, your dogs, your peacock, whatever, and have your humans in the second row and be really, really comfortable. There's a lot that feels premium. The Napa leather, of course, is an upgrade, but things that I really love, like the split console, a lot of people like the concealable cup holders. So there's a lot that feels just well made and nicely put together. And of course, the moonroof, or what do we call it? The moonroof.
Yeah. So it's like, going back, it's a lot of compromises, but I think in the best way possible. We hope that a lot of people will try this out and they're going like, you know what, EVs aren't that bad and I can plug in every night and have a full tank. I think it could be a transition vehicle for you that you'll go like, you know what, instead of plugging in every night and getting 26 miles of range, it'd be nice to plug in every night and I have 180, 200, 300 miles of range available every morning. So that hopefully will be appealing to you. But, if this is the direction you're going, if you are looking for a plug-in hybrid and you need 3 rows, I think this is pretty nice. I know a lot of other reviewers have liked it as well. It's fairly quick. It's fairly sporty. It's fairly premium. So it's like fairly good.
And I'm really liking the ventilated seats. Truly.
Yeah.
But our tagline, whatever you drive, enjoy the ride. We truly mean that. If you're like, no, I know. I'm like, no, not quite yet. Because we still have to thank our patrons. Thank you all so very much for supporting this channel. Thank you to our YouTube members for also supporting this channel. Multiple ways that you can support us. And we want to support you in your EV journey or your vehicle journey. So whatever you drive, enjoy the ride. No. But we truly do believe that. So if you're not ready for an EV, if you don't want an EV, whatever it is, we're here to support that, whatever it is. So if this is the vehicle for you, we want to hear about it. We want to hear how you enjoy it. And if there are other vehicles that you want us to look into, other plug-in hybrids, other EVs, whatever, horses, ponies, what else?
Yeah, we'll look into all of it.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, whether it's about plug-in hybrids or EVs, we want to also be the channel that helps educate people on the transition to electric. And as much as we'd like to say, like, you know what, you're buying an electric tomorrow, that's not the reality for a lot of people. So what we want to do is be your friend in this journey. We're all in this together. We all just want to get from point A to point B. And when we get out, have a smile on our face. And that's the way your vehicle should end your journeys.
Indeed.
Because you're spending a lot of money on them. Hopefully it brings you joy and happiness and more than just a car payment.
I was thinking we want people to hop in the back seat in the second row, not the third row, because we like you and we don't want you to be squished.
Yeah.
So hop in the second row along with us for this journey. And on that note, thank you so much for joining us for this video in which we fully investigated the Mazda CX-90 Premium Plus plug-in hybrid. That's a lot of words in rhodium white. Please do let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, all those good things. And truly, just remember that whatever you drive, were you going to add something?
If it's fully electric or not.
Whether it's fully electric or not, enjoy the ride.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Zoom, 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 zoom. Bye.
Bye.